Alright, next thing we like to talk about is keys, key signatures, scales, and cadences. And we're gonna start by asking what means being in a key. Naively spoken, we could say that we mostly use notes from a certain subset of notes that we choose. But a bit more precise is saying that the most important notes are from a certain subset of notes. And one example for such a subset is C major, or the C major scale. It consists of C, this is a C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and again C. And what makes it a major scale is this pattern of whole tone and half tone steps. So we have 2 whole tone steps followed by a half tone step, followed by 3 whole tone steps, and again the most important half tone step in a major scale from the leading note, which is the B, to C. And this pattern is called major scale. So if we now want to shift this pattern of a major scale into another key, what we need is accidentals. The most important accidentals are sharps, flats, and naturals, and besides that we have double sharps and double flats. And what accidentals do is shifting the pitch of a note into a certain direction. The sharp rises up a note by a half step, so an F becomes an F sharp, C becomes a C sharp. And in the same way, flats do this the other way around. So an E becomes an E flat, a B becomes a B flat. And the natural is some kind of neutralizing the first 2 ones. So an F sharp again becomes an F, and an E flat again becomes an E. You can add these accidentals anywhere in your music, in front of a note, and they will hold for 1 bar. And in the next bar they won't hold anymore. And what we can now do is shift this pattern of a major scale to, for example, D major by adding 2 sharps. So we will start at D, and to reach the same pattern of whole tone steps and half tone steps, we will go to the E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D again. If we now know from the beginning that our whole piece is supposed to be in a certain key, then we do not have to add the accidentals anywhere they have to occur. We can simply add a key signature at the beginning of our piece or at the beginning of our passage that we want to be in that key. And this key signature will hold for this whole piece or the passage, just until the next key signature. So as you can see in the example, we can start in D major, then we can add another 2 sharps, so we're in E major, then we can add 4 flats, which takes us to A flat major, and then we put there 4 naturals to take ourselves to C major. The next thing is the circle of fifth, which is quite a handy tool to classify keys given a key signature. And quite a good point to start is right at the top at the C, and we first of all will only look at the outside, where we find the major keys. So if we start at the C, this is the C, and we go clockwise, we will add fifth. So we will come to the G, then to the D, to the A, to the E, the B, and the F sharp. And if we go back to the C, and now go counterclockwise, we will rise in fourths. So this is a C again, this is an F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat and G flat. On the outside you can find the major keys, and on the inside you can find the parallel minor keys, which means every major key has a parallel minor key that has the same key signature, and you can find this parallel minor key exactly a minor third below that major key. So if we're in C, we just go down a minor third and we're in A minor. Same thing goes for G major and we're in E minor. I want to get back to the question of being in a key, maybe in a more musical sense. Being in a key also means having some point of view, some kind of root or home. And this home in C major is the C major triad. And what we can do is we can leave home, we can leave it even further and build some tension. And then we want to return home. And what I just played are the 3 most important scale degrees in a major scale. So what I called home is what we call the tonic. And that's the C major triad. When I said we leave home, we went to the subdominant, which is the F major triad. And our dominant, the 5th degree, is in C, the G major triad. And it has what I called, when I talked about the scale, the most important half step. It has the B, the leading note, which wants to go to the C. And then we're home again. So all other scale degrees are somewhat related to the 3 most important scale degrees. So we again have the tonic. The 2nd degree is the subdominant parallel. And in the abbreviations you can see we use a capital S and a lowercase p. So for major chords we use capital letters, and for minor chords we use lowercase letters. So the subdominant is a major chord, and this parallel chord is the parallel minor chord, so we use a lowercase p. 3rd degree is the dominant parallel. We know the 4th degree, which is the subdominant. The 5th is again the dominant. The 6th is the tonic parallel, which is at the same time our parallel minor to the major scale. And the 7th is basically a dominant 7th chord, but without the root, and we don't assign a specific function to this. So next to the major scale, we also have minor scales. And first of all, what makes a minor scale is the minor third from the root to the 3rd degree, which is in A minor, the interval between A and C. So all of these scales have a minor third. And the first one is A natural minor, which goes like this. It starts at A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. Next is harmonic minor, which starts on A, B, C, D, E, F, and now we have a G sharp, and again A. And between F and G sharp, we find an augmented second, which sounds like a minor third, but it's actually a second. And the last one is melodic minor, which starts like all the other minor scales, but it some kind of ends like a major scale. Sounds like this. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. The last 2 of these minor scales, so harmonic minor and melodic minor, both have the important leading note from G sharp to A. As in major, we also have scale degrees in minor. And to show them, we use a scale that's a bit of a mixture out of harmonic minor and natural minor. So the 1st degree is again the tonic, only in minor. For the 2nd degree, which is the diminished chord, again, it's a similar problem to the 7th degree of major. We don't really assign a function here. The 3rd one is the tonic parallel. 4th is again the subdominant in minor. The 5th is the dominant, and dominants are always in major, at least in classical music. 6th is the subdominant parallel, sometimes in German also called tonischer Gegenklang. That's why we added this TG. And the 7th is the dominant parallel. Now that we know major and minor scales and their degrees, I want to get back to keys and key signatures for a second, to explain how to classify the key of a given piece. And for that we need to look at two spots. The first one is the very beginning, because there we will find the key signature. And by using the circle of fifth, we can then assign to this key signature a key. But as I explained, we then don't know whether it is a major key or its parallel minor key. And to be sure, we look at the very end, at the last chord, because in classical music, pieces usually end on the tonic. And then we will find out, is it a major key or is it a minor key? And then we know the tonic and know the key. The last thing I want to talk about is cadences. And there are two very basic types of cadences. The first one is the perfect or authentic cadence. And for that we start at the tonic, we go to the dominant and go back to the tonic. Or in minor, tonic, dominant in major, and back to the minor tonic. The very important part is basically going from the dominant to the tonic. And there we have the characteristic leading note, which is in our case the B, which goes to the C, and our descending fifth. Together they sound like this. The second type of cadence is called plagal, and it goes from the subdominant to the tonic. Sounds like this. Tonic, subdominant, and tonic. And in minor, tonic, subdominant, tonic. And what we can actually do in major is taking the major tonic but the minor subdominant. Sounds like this. Subdominant and minor and tonic. And while the perfect cadence really feels like closing down, closing a book, really that feels like closing a book, right? Closing a door or something. The plagal cadence more feels like opening up, like it's getting a lot brighter at this part. And this can be explained by each of these two types of cadences corresponding to one direction on the circle of fifth. So the perfect cadence means going counterclockwise, and the plagal cadence means going clockwise. And that's why they feel to us like they do.